The house felt different the moment Emily Carter stepped inside. It was not louder or darker, but emptier, like something important had quietly slipped away and taken warmth with it. The air smelled faintly of old wood and clean sheets, the way it always had, yet nothing felt the same. Her mother was gone, and the walls seemed to know it. Emily had not planned to stay long. She came from Boston for the funeral, thinking she would help her father settle things and then return to her life. That was what sensible adults did. But standing in the hallway, holding her coat, she felt her plans weaken. Her father, Daniel Carter, stood near the stairs. He looked smaller than she remembered, not weak, but worn. His eyes were red, and his hands rested in his pockets as if he did not know what to do with them anymore. He smiled when he saw her, a careful smile that did not fully arrive. "You're home," he said. Emily nodded and hugged him. The hug lasted longer than expected. Neither of them spoke. They did not need to. The days after the funeral moved quickly, but felt heavy. People came with food and kind words. They talked about her mother's kindness, her laughter, her quiet strength. Emily thanked them all, but each word felt distant, as if spoken through glass. At night, she lay awake in her old room, listening to the house settle, wondering how a place could feel so full of memories and so empty at the same time. On the third evening, Daniel asked Emily to sit with him in the kitchen. The rain outside tapped gently against the windows. The overhead light was too bright, but neither of them reached to turn it off. A box of old letters sat on the table between them. "I've been meaning to ask you something," Daniel said. Emily felt a tightness in her chest. She waited. "I don't want to be here alone," he said. His voice was calm, but careful. Not. Yet Emily looked at him, surprised by how simple the words were and how heavy they felt. He was not asking for money or help with the house. He was asking her to stay, to share the silence, to help him survive the days when grief came without warning. She did not answer right away. She could not. Her life in Boston felt far away, but it was still hers. A job she worked hard for, friends, a future she had built piece by piece. "I just need time," Daniel added quickly. "Not forever." Emily nodded, though her thoughts were spinning. She told him she would think about it. That night, she stared at the ceiling and wondered how love could pull in opposite directions at the same time. The next morning, she went for a walk. The town had not changed much. The same small shops, same quiet streets. The air was cool, and the sky was pale. As she crossed the park, she heard her name, Emily. She turned and saw Michael Reed standing near the path. He looked older, but familiar, taller than she remembered. His smile was unsure but kind. "I heard about your mom," he said. "I'm really sorry." Emily thanked him. They walked together for a while, talking about small things. Michael had moved back recently. Life had not gone the way he planned, he admitted. Neither had hers, she thought, but did not say. Talking to him felt easy. There was no pressure. No need to explain everything. When they parted, Emily felt lighter than she had in days. Back at the house, Daniel was sorting through photo albums. He looked up when she entered. "I was thinking," he said, "we could fix the back porch. Your mom always wanted to repaint." Emily smiled softly. The idea of doing something practical felt good. Something with a clear beginning and end. As the day passed, Emily noticed small changes. Her father ate more. He talked a little longer. He did not look as lost. It made her feel useful, but also afraid. Afraid of what would happen when she left. That evening, she stood at the window and watched the rain return. She thought of Boston. She thought of Michael. She thought of her father sitting alone at the kitchen table. She realized then that her answer would not be simple, and that whatever she chose, something would be left behind. Emily decided to stay, at least for now. She woke early, moved quietly through the rooms that once felt so familiar, and tried to fill them with life again. The mornings began with coffee in the kitchen, the smell of toast and butter bringing small comfort. Daniel would sit across from her, reading the newspaper or sipping slowly, pretending to be busy, but she could see the way he relaxed when she was near. It was subtle, but enough to remind her why she had returned. Days passed. In quiet rhythm. Emily helped with errands, tidying the house, sorting old photographs, and folding her mother's clothes. Each act was simple, almost mundane, but it carried weight she had not expected. She discovered small pockets of grief in unexpected places. Daniel hesitated when he reached for his wife's favorite mug, or paused at the back porch that had been left unfinished. And every time Emily was there, steady, sharing the silence without needing to fill it with words. One afternoon, she found herself in the attic sorting through boxes of keepsakes. Dust floated in the sunlight, streaming through the small window. She opened a box and found letters her mother had written to her father before they were married. Smiling faintly, she read the words aloud to herself. Feeling the warmth in them, the honesty, the love that had bound her parents together, she carried the box downstairs, and Daniel, seeing it, took her hands in his. For a moment they simply held the past together, and Emily felt the quiet bond of family stronger than any loneliness. Meanwhile, Michael became a steady presence in Emily's life. Called sometimes, texted often, and their walks through the town became a daily ritual. He did not rush her or demand explanations. They shared laughs and stories of their youth, but also secrets of recent hardships. Michael had returned after a broken engagement, and his own heart seemed fragile. Yet there was something in the way he listened that made Emily feel seen, even amid the grief that lingered. Evenings became the hardest. Daniel would sit in the living room, the soft glow of the lamp highlighting the lines on his face. Emily sometimes joined him, reading quietly, sometimes talking about mundane things. One night, Daniel spoke more openly than ever. "I didn't want to lose you two," he said. The words struck Emily with their simplicity and raw honesty. She realized that his request for her to stay had never been about obligation. It had been about love, about fear of losing the last piece of his life that mattered. Emily felt a tug in her heart that surprised her. She loved her father, of course, but the realization that she was also forming a bond with Michael complicated her feelings. She noticed the little ways she looked forward to his messages, the small smile that appeared when she saw him. There was warmth she had not expected, gentle and unspoken. And she found herself at a crossroads between comfort and possibility. Days turned into weeks. The back porch was finally repainted, and Emily and Daniel sat there one evening, drinking tea and watching the sun dip behind the hills. They talked less about grief now and more about life, their past, and the stories her mother had left behind. It felt peaceful, but Emily knew she could not ignore the life waiting for her outside this house. Boston called with its responsibilities, her friends with their plans, and her job with deadlines. One rainy afternoon, Emily sat on the porch steps, watching droplets race down the railing. Michael arrived, umbrella in hand, and smiled gently. They did not speak immediately. They sat together, sharing silence again, the rain forming a soft rhythm around them. Then he reached for her hand. Not too close, not too intimate, just enough to anchor her to the present. She realized she was ready to let herself feel again, to allow the possibility of something new. The choice she faced was not about staying or leaving in a simple sense. It was about acknowledging her own needs, her father's needs, and the fragile hope that love and family could coexist even amid loss. Emily had always been practical, focused, and disciplined, but here she learned that courage was not just about facing challenges. It was about opening one's heart even when fear lingered. One evening, as the sky turned golden pink, Emily found Daniel reading quietly in the kitchen. She poured herself a cup of tea, watching him for a moment, then spoke. "Dad, I've made my decision." His eyes lifted, curious and patient. She paused, letting the words settle inside her before continuing. "I want to stay, for now. And I also want to see where this." She gestured toward the front porch. where Michael waited in the soft evening light. Can go. Daniel looked at her, understanding in his eyes. There was relief, but also pride. He did not speak immediately. He just nodded, and Emily knew that in that single gesture, love had expanded, creating space for all that mattered: family, hope, and the quiet beginnings of romance. Michael entered, and Emily felt a warmth bloom in her chest. They talked softly, not needing grand gestures, not rushing anything. Life had taught them patience, grief had taught them compassion, and now hope taught them that love could still arrive, gentle and unassuming. Like sunlight through the clouds, Emily realized that staying did not mean giving up her life. It meant embracing the present while preparing for the future. Her father's request had been simple: do not let grief take you away from what matters. And in doing so, he had reminded her that love in all its forms required attention, courage, and the willingness to keep moving forward. The weeks turned to months. The house felt alive again. Daniel smiled more often, and Emily found joy in small moments: cooking dinner together, sharing coffee in the mornings, laughing at old family stories. Michael became more than a friend, more than a presence in her life. He became someone who reminded her of the beauty of ordinary days and the comfort of being truly seen. One night, as snow began to fall softly, Emily looked out the window at the garden, blanketed in white. She realized she had found a delicate balance between past and future, grief and love, duty and desire. And in that balance, she felt something she had not expected: peace. Not the absence of sorrow, but the presence of hope. Daniel came to her side, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Michael's hand rested gently in hers. Emily closed her eyes, breathing in the quiet warmth of her life, knowing that she had chosen to stay, to love, and to live fully. And in that moment, she understood that sometimes the hardest choices bring the deepest fulfillment. The story ended not with perfection, but with possibility. Emily had learned that life moved forward even when grief lingered, and that love could be rediscovered, gentle, patient, and transformative. She looked at her father, then at Michael, and realized she was exactly where she needed to be. The house, once empty, now held laughter, quiet conversation, and the gentle pulse of life returning. And for the first time since her mother passed, Emily felt ready to embrace every day with an open heart.